Good morning, children. How many of you would like to live in the jungle? Some of you? Why would you like to live in the jungle? What's your favorite thing there? Trees? Forest? Okay, lots of things. Well, I'm going to tell you a story that comes from the jungle. I'll see if this thing works. Modern technology. Anyway, this story, once upon a time, very close to where this picture was taken, there was a little girl born in a small little nipa hut. Now, unfortunately, it's usually a very happy thing when children are born, but this was a very sad occasion because right after she was born, her mother became very, very sick. And there was nobody there to give any medicine, nobody there that could do anything, and she died very shortly thereafter. And so this little girl named Jillian, she had no mother. And then shortly after that, her father died, so she became an orphan. She didn't have a mother or a father. How many of you have mothers and fathers? Yeah, sometimes you sort of take that for granted, don't you? But that's a very special blessing to have a mother and father. So anyway, there were people that said, well, we'll take care of Jillian, maybe, but she sort of went from here to there. She'd stay one place and then another place, and she started to grow up. But she really didn't have a place that was home. And when she got to about 8 years of age, she had a couple brothers and sisters, and her sister was getting tired of living up there in the jungles because the old men had decided they were going to marry her off, and she didn't want to get married because she wanted to get an education, and so she decided to run away. But she didn't want to run away by herself, so she ran away with Jillian. And all of a sudden, Jillian just disappeared. And nobody knew where Jillian was. And as time went on and on, finally they heard word that maybe the sister was in Manila, but nobody really knew. Well, later on, several years went by. And one day, her brother, Jillian's brother, was in the town of Nara. I'm not sure why he was there. And he was going through the open market where you can buy vegetables and all sorts of things like that. And he came around the corner, and guess what? There was Jillian right there. He said, Jillian, what are you doing here? She said, well, I'm here I was sent here to buy vegetables, but I can't stay very long or I'll get in trouble. He says, well, where are you? And she told him very quickly where she was staying, and then she had to leave. So then Nixon came back to the mountains and said, I know where Jillian is. I know where she is. And so soon after that, Jillian's oldest sister went to Nara with the missionary, and they went to the address, and they knocked on the door, and they said, we're here to get Jillian. They said, oh, you're not going to take Jillian. We love Jillian. She's really helpful. We like her here. She said, well, I'm Jillian's sister. I'm here to take Jillian. And they weren't happy about that, but finally they said, okay, Jillian, go get your things. And so Jillian went, and she got a little tiny bag, and all her earthly possessions were in that little tiny bag. And she went and left and went back up to the mountains where she had been born. Now, you'd like to say, well, she lived happily ever after, but no, that didn't happen. What we found out, what she was doing when she was in the lowlands, for 2 years, she was in the lowlands as a slave. When it was time to go to bed, she slept under the kitchen table with the dog. When it was time to eat, she was the one that brought the food and fed everybody. And if there was enough food for her, when it was over, then she had food to eat. When the family decided to go somewhere in the evening, they would take her out, lock the front door, and leave her on the porch there, and she'd have to sit there on the front porch until 11 o'clock or 12 o'clock at night when the people came back. One time they told her, Jillian, you're going to go to church today. She said, I go to church on Saturday. I'm not going to go. And so to punish her for acting that way, they put red hot pepper in her eyes. And all sorts of things happened like that. She had a terrible time, but everybody was glad to know that Jillian was back in the mountains. But the problem was, she didn't have parents. And so Jillian, now that she didn't have somebody telling her everything to do, she became sort of a little terror. She just did whatever she felt like doing. And everybody was going, what should we do with Jillian? She's just running around, doing things, getting in trouble. What do you do? Do you know what to do with somebody like that? What would you do? Well, you know what? That sounded like a good idea, and the missionaries there said, they got that idea. They said, well, maybe we should adopt, but I don't think they allow that in this country. I don't think that would work. Well, and so they went down to the lowlands, and the missionary had a friend that had been there many years, and he asked them, is it possible to adopt a child here in the Philippines? And they said, oh, that's interesting you asked, because they just changed the law. That is possible. And so they adopted Jillian. And they were very happy to adopt her for a little bit, but Jillian was still very uncooperative and very mean and spiteful and did all sorts of bad things. But you know what? You just keep loving, right? And I remember, and there was one time that Jillian said to her father, she said, you know why I act so bad? And he said, I don't know why. Why? She says, because I am afraid to love you. She'd been through so many hard things that she was afraid to love. But you know what? Jillian began to learn to love, and Jillian grew up. And Jillian became an adult. And do any of you remember that story that I told a couple weeks ago about Lonnie? Do you remember that story? That little girl that her life was saved? Jillian was the girl who adopted Lonnie. And so that was the most wonderful thing, that Jillian had been adopted, and then she went on to save the lives of 3 other little children after that. So when you don't know what to do about something, pray about it. But love does incredible things. And I think there's a few more pictures here. Let's see, I think that here is a picture of Jillian right in the very center. And I think there's one more. And where is Jillian here? Here is Honey Bear. She was instrumental in saving Honey Bear's life. Here is Lonnie. This is the little girl I told you about last time. And here is Jillian right up here. And one more picture. And here's the most recent one with Jillian. And Jillian's husband right here. This is Xander, Lonnie, and Liam. Her children. And I think you might recognize these other people. But you know what Jillian is doing now? 5 hours into the mountains. 5 hours hike into the mountains. She is running a little school, and it just so happens that school is being funded by an organization called Child Impact. So it's sort of interesting how this all came together today. Thank you.